Today's video is taking a look at KSI. He's been gone for a little bit, hasn't really been making any content, but he showed up on the What's Good podcast and talked about a couple of things. One is boxing future, two, the Adin Ross beef and why it's gotten more serious now, apparently, than it ever was before. I think it's been a long time coming in this influencer scene. We had a little bit of competition to kickstart what influencer boxing is supposed to be, which is people that have an issue with each other, or in this case, the two people with the most influence putting competing brands on. It's gone from stepping in the ring against each other to stepping outside and putting on the best events. I kind of like that, but I'm actually more here to see what KSI's next fight looks like. If he fights this year, does he still want to fight? And one of the more odd things he said in this interview, what his next boxing match may look like and how it'll be different. So KSI's back, at least that's what I'm being told. So let's see what he's got to say about Adin, boxing, and more. The breakdown. Let's go.
Yeah, well, no.
Just like to their face and then you're like away.
No. Like if I meet you, I'm there like it's on smoke. So like with me and Adin, I'd slap him in the face.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd slap him.
What's like?
Bro.
Damn. Right off rip, we get into the Adin talks. Okay. I've never heard of KSI, number one, slapping anyone. That's just the number one thing. Like, I've never heard him slapping people he has a problem with. So this is a little bit out of character, at least from what I've seen from JJ. I've heard him say it, right? He said he was going to slap Dylan Dennis, said he was going to slap Jake, said he was going to slap Logan all these times. But that doesn't seem to me in KSI's character, especially not like Adin Ross, because we obviously know that Adin is no threat physically to KSI at all. Like, that doesn't, I don't know what he would need to slap him. I don't know, did Adin say he was gonna like slap KSI or he was gonna do something to him? I doubt it, but if he did, then okay, it makes a little more sense. I still don't understand why JJ feels the need to slap Adin Ross. Maybe he'll explain it here.
Oh, just don't get me fucking started.
Has anything happened other than the boxing stuff?
It's all started from the boxing stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that's even to the point where I don't even want to go and kick now because of Adin. Like, I don't want to be associated with that platform or anything to do with him. I just think he's a bit.
And again, I don't know how this is going to work out. But Steak and Kick are the same company, and essentially JJ is like, I don't want to be associated with Kick's platform. Kick runs the Misfit shows. I don't know how that's going to go over. But if this is all just stemming from the fact that him and Adin have this little rivalry in the boxing thing, if it's just from that, I would say one, it's silly, and two, I highly doubt JJ's actually going to slap Adin Ross in the face. Like, I don't see that happening.
You know, the competition's good. He's got his own boxing thing going on. Happy days. You're like, we're not there to like disturb that. We're just doing our thing as well. But when you've got allegedly his fan base doxing our event and making it, you know, slowing it down for 2 years, 2 hours, making people
felt like 2 years. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you reckon that the beef started with Adin or was it Dean?
It definitely did start from Dean, and then from there, it kind of just this whole chaos.
Yeah, because I feel
before we get into that, okay, JJ thinks he's a dickhead, but he's most upset because of the doxing thing. I don't think you can attribute all that to Adin because allegedly someone in his community did that. That's like saying KSI is responsible if someone in his community were to do something similar. You can't really say you did that because someone that's a fan of yours did that. Maybe he could have been better about chastising it and being like, hey, you know, we don't do that, and everybody that's doing it or anybody that's doing it, I'm gonna help KSI find out. As far as right now, why JJ's upset with Adin and wants to slap the shit out of him, I don't see a reason here.
He's there trying to make a fight happen when he shouldn't be doing that. And then Adin kind of just got involved and just tried steering the pot. Sure. And then obviously, you know, was like, oh, we're going to have this, we're going to do an event at the same time Misfits are doing an event and show that we can get more views. By the way, we still got more views. Okay. Like, obviously, you can see his views, whereas our views are behind a paywall. So, first of all, ours are more valuable. Second of all, you know, we just got more anyway.
Okay. Well, everyone just screenshots the...
So, again, I'm a little confused here from JJ because his big issue is with Dean trying to get out of his contract. But I guess because Adin was aiding that or wanting to, Dean doing what he did obviously wasn't the best move. Adin trying to get Dean to come to his platform was a fine move for this competition stuff. And again, Misfits has every ability to send those lawsuits over and be like, nah, that ain't happening. At the end of the day, we're testing waters, we're pushing buttons and seeing how much attention can be drawn to or away from both companies. KSI is a competitor. I get that. Compete. Let's do it, right? And also, KSI did the same thing to Jake. You can't get upset that he wanted to run his event the same time you did when you did the same thing to Jake a couple of months before that. But again, it's not like some new idea that Adin had. He probably got it from KSI.
Most Wanted didn't want to fight as well and ruin the main event. That really
That's
pissed
a big
me off.
blow.
Was
That
Adin involved in that?
really
Because
pissed
he
me
came
off.
out Most Wanted after saying he wasn't.
So Most Wanted is saying that he wasn't involved and that, you know, he just actually got the nerves got the better of him. And that there's a clip, I'm sure you can get it up. There's a clip where Most Wanted is in, I think, a space with Adin, and Aiden's there like, yo, I'll pay you to not come out of the main event. Yeah.
So even though he's saying he didn't pay him in that.
I don't think this happened. I think that we've established now that Most Wanted just got nervous and had a panic attack and just didn't do it. This was a genius attempt from Adin. This is a war, right? If we're in competition, we're in competition. So I don't mind Adin trying to poke the bear a little bit. But again, what I'm getting out of this is that JJ is just upset about Misfits 13 and the way it turned out. Like, of course, you can't plan for the bomb threat, but it seems like he's upset about that. He correlates it with Aiden's community, and then also grabbing at the fact that he thinks Adin is responsible for the Dean situation, and then just mashing that all together is, I guess, where he comes to the conclusion that he needs to slap Adin.
I think he feels like he's the boss. Okay. Like he's a boss because of the whole kick thing. Like he feels like, yeah, you know, no one can chat to me. I have fucking billions in this kick. Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, he has like a tiny ass percentage, but still, like, you know, he feels like he's got a big dick because of it. Got you. Whatever, let him roam around with his little cock, trying to think he's a big dog, but like, it's a different level.
What about Adin?
Okay, so essentially this is a dick measuring contest. That's what this is. That's what's come down to. JJ's only real gripe here is that Adin thinks he's a bigger name than he is, and he's talking like a big dog. And JJ wants to establish that he's still the big dog, and now we're going to pull all of our dicks out and measure them all together to see who's got the biggest one. Pause. Ayo.
Well, he wouldn't fight anyone. Literally, most people would slap him up.
I reckon he'd fight.
That's true. Aiden's not going to be fighting anybody. And he shouldn't, by the way. He has no interest in fighting. He has interest in putting on events, but yes, Adin will not be fighting, I don't think, and it would be a bad idea for him. Physically, his reputation, none of that stuff is going to go well if Adin actually fights.
I mean, yeah, I think Neon tried to make the fight happen, and then Adin said, nah, I'm not.
After all this stuff.
But then I feel like his excuse would be like, oh, Neon's not big enough, da-da-da-da-da, and it's just like, all right, cool, whatever.
Where did Neon come from, man?
That's a dangerous game to play because KSI has that same aura, right? Like, you can't just give KSI anybody. Everybody at that level can and has said that. Good reason, by the way. Rightfully. You're a huge name. You're not just going to step in with anyone. It needs to mean something. Your name needs to have value. There needs to be something that gives you at least somewhat equal return on risking the biscuit there. But what I really wanted to watch here was what JJ thinks about actually coming back to boxing. We don't get him talking about this a lot because he's been gone for a little bit and he's doing his own thing, but he's back and he wants to talk about what his boxing future looks like. So let's take a look.
Like, if I was to come back into boxing, my new thing will be no judges. As in, not that I would.
Hold on.
I
want to fight.
No.
It ends when someone dies.
No, as in, like,
legit. Valley Tudo rules, bro. Fight to the death.
I will make sure that I never leave it to judges.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't, because that, I think that annoyed me. I hate the idea that judges have so much power and they can dictate who wins and who loses.
There's two ways I look at this for JJ, right? He says, when he says that pissed me off, it means to me either one of two things happen. It pissed him off to get better, it pissed him off to come back stronger, or it pissed him off enough to be like, man, I put so much effort into this fucking fight, and these three people on this side of the ring with their freaking notepads and their 1 through 10 scoring scale determined whether I won or lost. And it pissed him off to the point where he was like, I don't want to go through that again, right? That's the two avenues that JJ can take here. I think kind of what he's saying there, it pissed him off, but it motivates him. Hopefully, this is what I'm getting from this, that he wants to come back and fight again, but never leave it to the judges. That's a dangerous game to play because That means a guy that fought risky already is going to fight even more risky, but it also kind of leans into JJ's strengths, right? Which is being a little bit of an unorthodox speed, power, and athleticism focused fighter that isn't looking to win rounds, looking to win the fight. I think for the amount of time JJ has left in this game, which is not a long time in my opinion, he's got a couple fights left maybe, it's go big or go home. And those fights especially, we're talking Jake, Tommy, fights that you want to end in spectacular fashion. I like what JJ's saying here though, like go big or go home. Don't leave it to the judges. We don't have a lot of time left in this game. Haven't trained to be an orthodox boxer, so we're not fighting to impress judges. We're fighting to knock fools dead.
If you did fight again, I would. Well, is it the Jake fight? Is that the only time you would fight again?
I think Jake fight, the Tommy fight as well.
I'll rematch.
Yeah,
I can't see you
rematch.
fighting anyone else. I feel like there's unless something comes out of the woodwork.
Bro, they could always beat Mayweather.
Yeah. But
Tyson even,
but it has to be.
Yeah, it has to be top tier. I know people were like, "Oh, I want to fight Rooney." I don't want to fight Rooney. Like,
No.
Stop.
No.
And then people were
do you
like,
think you win that fight?
"What?"
Do you think you win the Rooney fight?
And then you've got people like Evander Holyfield being like, "Oh, well, no, he hasn't said anything." But people were like, "Oh, because Jake's fighting Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
and because Evander Holyfield followed me, people think that he's gonna want to fight me.
Right.
I'm not fighting any old man,
The two fights, realistically, for JJ, it's Tommy or Jake. And then he says Mayweather. Like, if he does the Mayweather thing, it's obviously an exhibition. And, we've all had the discussion about exhibitions and whatever and old guys and stuff like that. Mayweather's still, cool. Like, run all those, run one of those. It doesn't really matter. It seems like when he answers that, the one he's most keen on or the one that's probably the most realistic to him is the Tommy rematch. Because he kind of perks up, pops out of his chair. He's like, yeah, the Tommy rematch. JJ seems like he has an answer for some of that stuff and wants to run it back. So run that one back. Obviously, we all want the Jake fight. It just doesn't seem realistic right now. Mayweather just running through influencer boxing like Tommy Fury is, just dancing on everybody. Like, okay, give him KSI as well. He's had Logan, Deji, all right. Finishing the final bosses of influencer boxing, I guess. What I'm getting out of this is that JJ does still want to fight, and that even with the Tommy loss and the officials, whatever, it pissed him off in a good way to bring him back.
What if Jake was like, you know what? Tag team fight. Me and Mike Tyson versus you and Mayweather.
Just stop. Not doing it. It's just cringe. It's cringe.
What? Tag team's cringe or what?
No, I'm the fact that he's fighting Mike.
Talk to him, Randolph. Listen, hey, I didn't say it, all right? It wasn't me. Simon saw it coming. That was nice, Randolph. Fair play.
But that he's fighting Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I think I posted what the rules are as well. So it's 16 ounce.
16
It's
ounce.
not even 10 ounce. It's
2-minute
16
rounds.
ounce. It's just the fact that they have to.
We don't actually know what the Tyson and Jake fight's going to look like. We do know now, because Tyson was on Fox News as I'm recording this yesterday, that it will be an exhibition.
Change the rules because this guy is almost 60. Oh man, it's just so sad.
What is the...
That's a good point. When you look at it in a grand scheme, to see Mike in his old age and you're starting to have to do exhibition stuff, it's not the greatest idea for Mike, who is going to be 58, to be boxing. Because again, he's standing across from Jake, who, no, is not the greatest boxer of all time, but he is good enough to beat Mike Tyson at this age, badly.
Anyone over the age of this, whatever, has to have a EKG and an EEG or something like that.
Something to do with their brain, like a brain scan.
So he might not pass that.
He might not.
Even if
Let's hope that Mike is in good health. Like, that's the biggest part of this. Like, you don't want him stepping in with a pre-existing issue, because then, yeah, it could get very, very bad.
it could be bad for Mike.
Okay,
And I guess I know a lot of people are like, it's Mike Tyson, greatest of all time, blah, 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 blah. But it's Mike Tyson when he's almost 60, bro. It's very different to a 20-year-old Mike Tyson who would obliterate most heavyweights.
Bingo. 5,000% agree. I have been saying this and saying this and saying this. Mike Tyson that you're going to get versus Jake is not your father's Mike Tyson. It's not that guy. And I say that phrase specifically because my father, and what JJ says there, a lot of people are saying the thing. That's Mike Tyson. Even at 58, that's Mike Tyson. But they haven't seen Mike Tyson in 20 years. They haven't seen Jake actually box. They haven't seen the power he has in his hands. He's got youth on his side. He's got experience enough to be in that ring and hold himself accountable versus a Mike that isn't Mike from 20 years ago.
I agree. But then what if, just like devil's advocate, what if Mike Tyson beats Jake?
Well,
Would you then say it's embarrassing for Jake?
That's extremely embarrassing for Jake.
Yeah.
That is laughable.
Well, there's no judges as well.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's
There's
so
no winner
that's what I mean.
unless
So we're not gonna know.
Well, if you ask Deji will say, he's like, yeah, I lost, but he'll also say, in the Mayweather fight, wasn't that also an exhibition?
Yeah. There was no winner.
but-
And he'll say I won because I gave him a black eye.
Yeah,
The
but
thing is, Deji lost, but
actually
it was
got
a win.
stopped.
It was a win for Deji.
If Jake is to lose to Mike, which a lot of people want, right? That's the whole buying process behind this. It's Mike Tyson. A lot of fans getting behind him. He's on Fox News. He's everywhere. People are like, yeah, Jake's going to learn today. If that were to happen, that would be a rough moment for Jake, for sure. Only problem is, in my opinion, it's not going that way. All right, so there it is, man. I think this is a great sit down. The start of this, it seems like, is a little bit emotional from JJ, which, again, we know from time now that JJ does sometimes handle things a little emotionally in the moment. And I think a little bit of the frustration off of the competition and the issue with Misfits 13 is what he's kind of venting at there. So I think that's a bunch of nonsense. But I do like that he's talking about getting back in and fighting, and I like his reasoning for it, right? Like he wants to now prove that I don't need this judges stuff. We're not leaving it to the judges. I have something else to motivate me, and it seems like he wants Tommy Fury, maybe Jake, maybe Floyd Mayweather. Regardless, I don't really care about who it's going to be. I need a date, and I want to see JJ back in. I want to see him motivated, ready to go. But it's 2024. We're in the middle of April. Rumor is Misfits has got 2 events in May. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but as we keep going through the year, I think probably the later part of the year, JJ is coming back. At least that's my opinion. But who will it be against, and how will his style differ? How will he take judges out of the equation? I don't have those answers, but guess we'll find out.